We are lucky to have you this morning. We just thought it's important for us to have an interaction this morning. As we come to the close of 2025, and just to underscore what we've been able to achieve over the last 12 months of the year, and basically looking forward to 2026, what we want to achieve. As most of you know, the flower industry is a major sector in this country, not just because of the foreign exchange that we bring into this country, but when you look at our contribution to the economy of the country at a local level, in terms of jobs, in terms of other auxiliary taxes, levies, and generally the development that we do at a much more local level, we see ourselves being very critical to the economy of this country. In 2024, our exports were about 108 billion Kenya shillings. We were also able to move our produce to the market, international market, exporting over 60 million stems of cut flowers, and also on the other side, the ornamentals that we do from here into the international market. And this underpins our importance to the international flower trade, where we command about 40% of the market share in Europe, and we've remained a top 4 exporter of cut flowers and ornamentals in the world. We see a big shift on the production end from Europe, majorly to Africa and to Kenya specifically. We have seen an increase of an average of about 500 to 800 hectares added to our industry every year. Today we are posting about 5,300 hectares as the total production from Kenya. We are certain that this number can go up if there are certain things that we do that are important for the growth of our industry. So we believe that we have remained resilient over the years. From COVID time, when we were a bit battered, to now, we have been able to recover considerably. We have seen our exports have largely increased from that time, and we are certain that we can be around for many, many years to come. Let me just get the liberty to address a few things. We believe that we are highly entrenched within the bottom-up economic agenda of the current government, and we are one of the contributors of that agenda in terms of spurring up export-led growth, creating jobs. We are looking at climate change development, and also when we look at our SMEs, we are seeing that there is a bit of things that are happening there. A lot of entrance of small growers now coming into this space. For us as Kenya Flower Council, when we look at our increase in terms of our membership, in the last 12 months, we have seen over 20 new entrants into our membership, and that gives us confidence that we are remaining quite attractive. So the sector has recorded notable increase in participation of the smallholders, as I mentioned to you, supplying exports through consolidation. This expansion is critical for the inclusive growth, rural income, diversification, and accelerating Kenya Kwanza's better agenda to empower small growers as engines of job creation and regional economic development. We have seen expansion of smallholders and medium-scale farms in counties such as Nakuru, Naivasha, Kiambu, Meru, Uasin Gishu, Nyandarua, signaling a healthy sector, though underpinned by certain challenges that we will talk about later. Supporting growth through smallholders is critical because it expands household income in rural areas, increases county-level export earnings, it deepens Kenya's competitiveness through diversified supplies, and strengthens resilience by broadening the producer base. Many of these farms are entering export markets for the first time, and they require predictable regulatory policies and affordable compliance pathways. We know that there has been concerns about pesticides use, not just in Kenya, but we have come under global scrutiny on how we apply pesticides. We want to say here that Kenya remains a leader in sustainability through the processes that we do, and we want to say here without any hesitation that our Kenya Flower Council Ornamental Sustainability Standard, FOSS, requires that everyone who is using pesticides uses it in a judicial way, and we do this not just to protect the environment but also to protect our people. So we are calling on responsible chemical handling. We're also looking at how the supply chain also manages this, because it's important not just at one point but all through the supply chain. We know that over 80% of our exports are actually certified by Kenya Flower Council FOSS standard, which positions Kenya as a model of ethical and environmental sustainable floriculture. At Kenya Flower Council, we have a list of accepted pesticides, both in Kenya and in the market, and this is what we certify on. We are in line with the processes and structures within the market, especially the Floriculture Sustainability Initiative, who we are founder members, and we have remained in their business, moderating every pesticides that are used here in Kenya and what is acceptable in the market. We work closely with institutions of government, especially the Pest Control Products Board, PCPB, to ensure that this list is up to date and it corresponds to what is needed in Kenya, but also in the marketplace. KFC's FOSS ensures responsible pesticide use and compliance with global residue standards being adhered to. We ensure safe working environment, fair wages, and strong labor protection. We strengthen gender equality, especially for women who are a majority in our sector, but also looking at child care protections. We are also very keen on environmental protection through water efficiency, carbon footprint reduction, and the biodiversity of our environment. The standard is internationally recognized and benchmarked, giving Kenya growers a global stage where our products are globally accepted and ensuring buyers are looking at all the ethical issues from the sourcing side, and Kenya responds accordingly. The floriculture sector is one of the largest formal employers of women in Kenya. Through FOSS and workplace codes, firms are increasingly implementing gender-responsive workplace, fair labor practices, grievance mechanisms, and women-focused skills, developing programs to promote inclusive employment and safe working environment. We continue to be present in the international market through trade fairs and also expos in the international market to maintain our place and our market share, securing logistic channels, attracting new buyers, and expanding into other frontiers, especially in the major countries in Asia and in the Middle East. We know that government facilitation of trade missions, export promotion financing, and bilateral agreements is vital in unlocking the emerging opportunities. These platforms drive buyer confidence, market expansion, and direct export orders. Continued government support will enable national branding and promotion, showcasing Kenya's sustainability leadership and deepening penetration in the new and emerging market, especially in the Middle East, Asia, and the Americas. But we know that we have barriers that have remained in our sector that make us not very competitive. So despite all the potential that I have talked about, this sector faces policy taxation and also liquidity challenges threatening long-term growth. We pay over 50 levies and taxes and other charges every year, creating unpredictable and highly operational inefficiency and costs. We are currently dealing with delayed refunds VAT exceeding 12 billion, creating liquidity challenges and pressure, forcing growers into postponing expansion on the farms and having to borrow from commercial lenders who are lending us at a very expensive rate. Taxes continue to discourage value addition, especially when we have tax on locally sold flowers. It doesn't spur up what we call value addition, where we can do finished bouquets from this end and be able to export. Recently, we have seen costs going up in what we call the KEBS standards levy. It has gone up from a cap of 400,000 per year to now 4 million per year. And this will definitely go up by 2030 to 6 million. We have seen a hike in what we call the UCR. This is by Kentrade, the unique consignment reference fee. We have seen that being introduced, and it's a huge cost. We have seen also excess duty on craft paper that we use, 25%, that has made us so uncompetitive, not just within the region, because we are not able to compete with our peers like Ethiopia and the rest, but has added a huge cost on growers and exporters. While we note that government has given us some support, we believe that reforms must remain urgent. And we urge the government to look at our investment climate and be able to come in with mechanisms to be able to reduce this cost, to spur job protection, and also expand our export goals. As I've said, the Council appreciates the ongoing government efforts, and we have been in discussion with a lot of government ministries and agencies to be able to streamline trade processes. We have looked at predictable tax and regulatory environment. We are also suggesting that we need to have a one-stop processing and cargo clearance system. And on the VAT refunds, we believe that there needs to be a reform that will enable us to be able to offset some of this VAT against other taxes. We have gone through a very difficult time with air freight and other logistics. Kenya's air freight remains the most expensive, not just in the region, but probably globally. When you have to move your produce at a cost of up to $5.3 per kilo, you remain completely uncompetitive. Looking at our neighbors just the next door, they are exporting at about $2. How are we going to compete in the same market when freight actually accounts for about 30 to 40% of the total cost of production and selling of our produce? To unlock and have full potential of this industry and to protect livelihoods, KFC recommends, number one, restore liquidity and predictability. In that, we mean that we need to fast-track settlement of verified VAT refunds. Today, we have a huge backlog, as I mentioned, of about 12 billion. We are suggesting that there must be a removal of refund caps for larger exporters on VAT refunds. Today, it's capped at 30 million. Yet we have some of our members who are owed over 2 billion, and it's piling every day. We're also calling on government to allow refunds to be offset against other tax obligations. Number two, we are calling on government in terms of rationalizing and harmonizing taxes. We believe that there should be consolidation of levies into predictable single levy model. We're also calling on government to exempt cultural exports from the KEBS standards levy because we believe that we have been misclassified as a manufacturer. We're asking government to revert what we call the HCD levy to volume-based incentive instead of looking at the FOB value, which is currently at 0.25. That is very expensive for us. And on the UCR, we have made a suggestion that it needs to be at US dollars, $3 instead of $10 per consignment, and capped at 80,000 per consignment. And lastly, we are also calling on the abolition of duty on the craft paper. We use this craft paper, we don't have a local producer, So there is nothing to protect with this tax. It's just an added cost that should not be there because there is nothing, no one to protect because we don't have a local producer. We're also looking, number 3, at the regulatory and trade facilitation. We are calling on government to digitalize approval of apply once, pay once efficiency, ensure regulatory impact assessment before introducing new taxes, and prioritize cold chain logistics investment and mechanisms that alleviate the high cost of air freight, especially at JKIA. I want to say in conclusion that for Kenya Flower Council, we affirm our commitment to working closely with government at both levels, national and county governments, and regulators and development partners to be able to protect the jobs that we provide for this country, over 200,000 jobs directly from the farms. We want to continue with our value addition. We have a potential of adding another 20,000 jobs with our value addition, and we have seen a few pilots that are being done have shown a lot of potential in this area. We are calling on the expansion of our foreign exchange earnings because we are in a competitive world. We are competing with the giants from South America, and whatever processes they are putting in place to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, we have examples that we can copy from them and implement in Kenya. We believe that we need to continue encouraging digital transformation in trade and accelerating climate change, climate smart and sustainable agriculture, especially for our industry that is dealing with perishables. A predictable business environment will ensure that we protect the 200 jobs that we provide directly. We unlock about $1.4 billion in export earnings by 2030, and that is just in 4 years. But we believe that is possible. We continue to strengthen Kenya's global competitiveness and accelerate rural development with expansion of the smallholders and small growers within the counties. KFC now holds on government regulatory bodies to facilitate growth rather than constraining it by ensuring that Kenya remains a home of world-best flower growers. We've been able to demonstrate this over the last 35 years, and we believe that we have huge potential to be able to grow this sector. In 2026, we see a huge potential for us as a country. As a sector, we believe that we'll continue to play a critical role in the development of this country. But there are certain things that must be done, especially in creating a friendly or conducive business environment. So the question of taxes and levies, the 50 taxes and levies that I've mentioned, needs to be looked at to be able to create that environment that encourages much more investment in our sector, encourages growth and value addition. We believe those 4 are the tenets of our growth of our sector. Thank you very much. I want to invite questions from you on